we go. Finally back to using a regular ass looking camera. Sometimes for me it's fun to use fancy ones, but let's keep it simple. Let's keep it clean. So today for back, what am I thinking today for back? I've got a couple, and this is with every movement. I have a couple of like internal, it's like my moves list, right? You know, you got your side B, you got your ultimate, you got all sorts of combos. And for most sets, I think I break them down into a few ways. I mean, there's like slow squeezing sets where, I mean, it's a little slow and squeezing obviously would be a little bit lighter, nothing wild heft wise, and that's where just the burn of the rep throughout is what I'm going for. And then there's slightly heavier, more pumpish style sets where it's not as slow of a rep, it's a little bit faster, and that's where just the rapid, you know, contraction to stretch, you know, and kind of more manhandling of the weight comes into play, and that feels pretty good too, you know. And then there's just a really heavy ass set where it's like the hardest part is simply doing 8 reps or doing 10 reps with it, whatever weight was, you know, picked out for that pull down or that row or that pull over or whatever. And it's, you know, I don't think they're, I think it has been hypothesized that one of those sets is actually perfect. You know, one of those styles of sets is actually the right way to do it, and the other ones are bunk garbage. And then, of course, you know, no one can decide what that one set really is. But how I'm looking at it, it's not so singular, right? That's not the answer. I think the answer lies a little bit closer to the fact that, well, there's a lot of different ways to do it, and, you know, by doing them each in a relatively balanced approach, then you get the best of every world, right? And everything's kind of, you know, living in unison. You know what I'm saying? Right? We don't just have one kind of bird or one kind of dog or one kind of whatever, right? There's a million different kinds, and it's the fact that they're so varied and different in their, you know, intrinsic value and qualities that just makes it more fun. So it's like you want to only do one set. What do we want to live in a world where it's like there's only one kind of no, that's totally silly, right? The variety is what makes it valuable and cool. So I think I'll try to continue to implement that thought process for this workout. You know, I always try not to fall into the same habits, at least not too strongly on like a lift by lift basis, where it's like every lift I want to do something at least a little bit different, be it, you know, maybe start with a row instead of a pullover, maybe do some pullovers, superset it into this or that, or, you know, just change it up a touch. And when I'm dieting, that's usually when I'm trying the most new stuff, just so that I can, I guess, kind of build my, you could kind of say training knowledge. Because when I'm bulking up, I am going to end up kind of instinctually doing what I know is going to work for me right then. So a hard, heavy lift, solid pump, like basically, you know, I'm a little more hard-headed. I don't want to explore as much new stuff in an off-season because I'm going to do what I know has worked for me so far. And then when I start dieting down, that's when I've got a little bit more leeway, and I can try workouts I've never done because, well, as long as I get a good pump, I mean, I'm going to achieve the goal I'm aiming for, muscle maintenance. Like, I'm going to stay the same size I already am. So, you know, I'm a little bit more open to trying new things when I'm dieting. And then, you know, it ends up in like maybe a 3 end state result. So it's like, one, either I love it and I'm like, whoa, this new pull down variation is going to be added into the routine from this point forward. Nice. Or, you know, I didn't really like that. Maybe I'll like it a different day. Or, you know, the third case, probably the most extreme, I do not like that pull down at all. I don't know what that guy was thinking to even say that was a good movement. Yeah. You know, so it's either I learned something I like or I learned something I don't like. And then in both instances, I get to move ahead forward. And now with a little better grasp of, you know, training methodology, if you catch my drift. But I'm much more concerned with that set-by-set intensity than any kind of, you know, written out doctrine. But yeah, Yeah, I think nothing else to say there. Let's just go get this back day started. So out of the styles I was talking about in the car, heavy, light squeezing, moderate kind of pumpish. Let's start heavy. So I've warmed up, of course, and then I totally forgot that I got this bar delivered. It's been sitting against the wall this whole time in an Amazon box. Neutral grip pull down bar. You know, as much as I'm never going to stop using the standard, you know, kind of cambered right at the edge bar, something about this neutral grip, like it, and it's kind of a weird thing to describe it as, but I almost don't feel like on a pull down I'm pulling my lats backward. Sometimes I almost kind of feel like I'm pulling them forward in like this, because, you know, when I'm trying to really squeeze my lats, I don't want to lean back into a bunch of trap, if you follow me. But let's get this started. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeesh. Let's do one more, but that's freaking heavy. Two. Okay. One more of those for the road, and then move on. I feel like I haven't done heavy, nasty sets of pull downs for a while. Okay, that was a little too heavy for that one. But that was a good 3. Let's switch to a row now. One more heavy one. Ooh. All right. 2 more of those. Yeah, very mid-back focused here. That was good. 2. All right, I'm not done. Okay, so. Oh my gosh, all right. One more nasty one like that. And then I'll move on to something a bit more controlled. Okay. All right, I've got another row planned. Not exactly the fanciest, actually a little bit old school. 4 plates on a T-bar row, V-bar style. That's about right. Any heavier would be a little much. So this will be decently controlled, at least until the point where I can only do partials. Whew. Oh, shit. That was freaking heavier than I thought. That was good, though. Let's get a finisher. That's about right for now. Kind of a half row, half pull down, best of both worlds, kind of long D-handled setup. Two. Okay. All right. Oh, let's find some lighting. There we go. Yeah, this looks pretty good. So, a little bruntish, definitely a little bit on the heftier side for this back day. And I don't see that as a problem, you know. That's just my, you know, kind of wave crashes and then wave recedes. And it crashes again and recedes, kind of this back and forth. We all get the gist. But I just like, there's a lot of ways to think about it. Do you have to make every single workout have every different kind of set? Or every other workout, do you change it up so that they don't get stale? I think the primary word there is change in any way. But let's see how we're looking through the shirt before any kind of actual pump reveal. Oh yeah. Yeah, we're getting somewhere, but let's take a look. Oh goodness. Morning weight unknown. Did not step on the scale this morning, but I'm not 250 yet. I'm hovering at that 252. Some light days at 251, but that's not an actual body weight. That's just, you know, I didn't drink enough water. I was dehydrated the day before. You know, things like that. Oh my goodness. Actually, let me try that. Let me try the last spread one more time. There we go. Oh goodness. Give it some time. Give it some time, but those across the trap, you know, fibers and veins, they're under there. They're under there. Just because they've been hidden away does not mean they're not still just itching to be released. But let's get all these lights off. Go eat something. Back day complete. All right, there we go. Yeah, all freaking done. All done. That was good. That back day had some heft to it too. And I feel like I didn't even eat that much food today. Like I had I had a freaking bowl of 2 cans of like albacore, whatever, tuna with some sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce on top. Very plain, honestly, not my most like appetizing meal, but 60-ish grams of solid protein, you know, and I mean really not much else apart from the carbs and a little bit of fat from that barbecue sauce. I mean, shit, that's a good dieting meal. You know, if you wanna know a dieting hack that goes beyond macro tracking and, like, you know, you don't want to sit and count every calorie of everything, which I can understand. I can appreciate that. Then literally anytime you're feeling hungry, to eat just a bowl of 50 grams of protein of your choice with like a low calorie sauce, at least eat that before eating any other sweet, you're gonna be in a better spot than before. You know, it's like, this is a classic tip it actually really does come in handy, especially if you actually are tracking all your calories and you're counting everything and you're really, being very particular with your calorie intake. If you're like, dude, I gotta eat something. Oh my God, I'm starving. And when you're hungry, you're gonna start thinking, oh man, I'm gonna start eating some. I'm gonna destroy that bowl of cinnamon toast, whatever. I'm gonna get, that Ben and Jerry's from the store. Just anything. Oh, I already got to stop and get gas. Maybe I should go in and get a treat. No. If you can hold off, go home and then eat a plain, or just a plain bowl or semi-plain bowl of ground beef without really any toppings or anything on top of it, and then see how hungry you feel. It's a good, let's just say it's a good approach. It's kind of like an eye opener. But no, that was good. So no, that's a good back day. Now I get to go home, chill, get ready for cardio tomorrow. And I think tomorrow morning I do have something on the personal agenda, and that's to go get a bike. I've been saying that for a while, but then I just never do it. And I got a bike rack on the car anyway. I can just slap it on. Like, it's not even a problem. Like, I don't have to ask somebody to borrow their truck or anything. Yeah, that'll be the plan. Because at least while it's warm, it's more fun to zip around instead of just sit on the seated bike. But once it starts getting a little colder, it's going to be seated bike all the way. But I think nothing else to say there. I'll see you for some arms tomorrow.